Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, so the big news. I'm not going to talk about it, but the big news today, I started going through the news feeds and I see Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Okay, so I'm thinking about, this morning I was thinking about downloading, I got 2 food videos all set to go. I actually got an iced coffee video, a hack for creamers. And I got a video that's a challenge between 2 different microwavable Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. These are coming up. But anyway, so I took a break and I started going through Facebook. And I went across, sometimes I look at the people I went to school with or the people that I worked with. And I'm amazed that so many people my age are no longer on this earth. So I started looking at a page of a truck driver I used to work with. He's my age, my build, very similar to me, except he was, I did good in school. He's one of those guys that in school that fell asleep on the radiator in the back of the room. He's one of those guys that all through school bragged that he never read a whole book in his life, like that, So as far as thinking, cognitive ability, I'd have to, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'd have to rate myself a little bit higher than him. And every single post on his Facebook page is about Donald Trump. Donald Trump being saved. He's got a picture of Donald Trump of a hand reaching out and pushing the bullet aside, and the angel behind Donald Trump and all this other crazy stuff. And I started thinking about that whole incident. I think sometimes we get so used to, Donald Trump's been around for 10 years, right? And I think we get so used to his arrogant, narcissistic, crazy behavior and the behavior of his cult that we don't really see we're expecting crazy behavior. And when we see it, it doesn't even affect us anymore. Now, let me talk about this really quick. I've been clean and sober for 17 years, 9 months, right? I used for over 2 decades, hard use every day. And this is the thing, back when I was using, every single day I woke up, I had to manipulate people. I had to lie and manipulate every minute, every hour of every day to get all the money that I needed and what I needed to continue my addiction. That's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I did. And with that, I got the ability, and I'm not proud of this, to manipulate people. I was very good at reading people and seeing what they wanted to hear, and getting what I wanted. I don't do that anymore. I don't need to do that anymore. But I still think I have a more sharpened ability to read people, to look at people. And I looked at Donald Trump and his whole fist pump thing, the fight thing. Now, when this first happened, I was surprised. I was surprised. I was like, I think I was kind of put off by it. The fact that I knew the MAGA crowd were going to be like, they were going to be all over this. This was going to make him a martyr, a hero. But something about it made me feel uneasy. It didn't make me want to vote for him. And something about it made me feel uneasy. And then yesterday, the day before, I saw Mark Zuckerberg, not a Trump fan. Trump just threatened to lock him up last week. Trump actually threatened on Truth Social to lock up Mark Zuckerberg. And now Mark Zuckerberg is like being a big wuss, and he's saying he's not backing any any presidential candidate. And then he says I will say this about Donald Trump: that was one of the most badass things I ever saw, and that just disgusts me. All right, so I started thinking about this though. Let's think about that incident where he stood up and he pumped his fist. And he said, fight, fight, fight. Because I think we're so used to seeing this arrogant, narcissistic behavior from Donald Trump and his cult that we don't actually realize what we're seeing. Think about this for a second. If you were in a mall and the mayor of your town, you were in a mall or outside the field at a green even, and the mayor of your town, the city mayor, the selectman or whatever, was speaking, and you're all standing around, and all of a sudden the same thing happened. Shots were fired out. What do you think that mayor would do? You got a bunch of women, children, families in the audience. As a leader, what is the first instinct of a leader? Because he knows these are aimed at him. People are in danger. So what would be the first thing the mayor would do, or the selectman would do? He would tell the people he would want to calm them and say, look, I'm okay. but he'd want to get them to stay down and not get hurt, especially because it's him, because they're firing this, this person's trying to take him out, right? So if any other leader other than Donald Trump were in this position, and he's a true leader, a true alpha, a leader of men, he would be concerned about the people in the crowd, right? He would want to put himself, in front, before the people in the crowd, because it's him that they're after. Right? So he wouldn't want the people in the crowd to get hurt. So he would tell them, stay down, leave here orderly. I'm okay. Don't panic. Because you're not. After all, he's not leading an army battalion. We're talking about men, women, and children in the audience. And then I thought about what Donald Trump did. So he stood up and he yelled, "Fight!" His first instinct was to yell, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" Now he knows, that thing whizzed by his ear. They're aiming at him, not the audience members. He didn't know what happened behind him. They're aiming directly at him. And what is his first instinct? Not to save, not to look at the welfare of the, all of a sudden when I realized this, I was like, oh my God, I'm so used to his arrogant, narcissistic behavior that I was just blinded by this. It's like, it's average. This crazy behavior has been it's become normalized. If a mayor did this, any other politician told the people in the crowd with an active shooter to fight, 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 stand up, fight, he'd look, you'd think he's crazy. This guy, you don't tell families, wife, men, women, and children to fight, to protect. I was like, this is typical Trump. If you look at it, he knows they're aiming at him, and he encourages the crowd to fight. In other words, to protect him. And when it should be the other way around. If a person was a true leader, any other mayor or selectman would want to think of the crowd first. They're trying to take me out, but I want to protect these people. I want to calm them. Isn't that what a rational leader would do? You got an active shooter. You wouldn't encourage them to get hurt. Right? You don't know what's going on. You don't know where this person is. You don't want to encourage people to start fighting when they don't even know what they're fighting. They don't even know what they're, that encourages mayhem. But it might save the politician's butt. When all these people stand up and start looking to fight, it's going to take the focus off him. And I was like, oh my God. This isn't a good thing that he did. This isn't a valiant thing that he did. It's the opposite. And we're so used to seeing this crazy behavior from Donald Trump that it doesn't even affect us anymore. People like me that would never vote for Donald Trump actually was almost fooled by this. I almost looked at this like, wow, he actually stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. Wow, that's brave. No, that's not brave. That's not smart. That's not what any leader would do. Think about it, honestly. The mayor of your town, would he encourage you to stand up and fight an active shooter? Men, women, and children, when they're aiming at him, not them, to put themselves in the line to protect himself? No, that's the opposite of what a real leader would do. We become so accustomed to this craziness, this arrogant, narcissistic, seriously. I'm not just saying this, because I don't like Donald Trump. I started thinking about it, and when I first saw it, I was almost fooled by it. I was kind of amazed. I was kind of shocked. Like, fight, fight, fight. Wow. No concern for his own safety. But then if you really think it through what he's doing. He's encouraging men, women, and children to get in the line of fire, to take the focus off him. That's exactly what he's doing. That's what he's done his whole life. This whole thing is all about him. The whole thing on January 6th, to go up and fight for him to stay in power, to take over the Congress, to stop the vote. It's him, and we become so freaking accustomed to this craziness for the last 10 years that we don't even notice it when we're seeing it anymore. Think about it. All right. The links will be down below about Biden dropping out and all that stuff. I'll be back later with some food videos. Have a good Monday.